Welcome everyone to another episode of DigiTalk Architects. Here with us today we have Marcus Smith from Moooves. Marcus, welcome to the show.
Hey,
Please
thanks
go
for being here.
ahead and tell us about yourself and your experience.
Sure. So, again, my name is Marcus Smith. As you guys can see, I am the founder and CEO of a company called Moooves. Not to be confused with Moves or Moves. No, it's just Moves.
It's just Moooves
Yeah. So
with
we actually,
three O's.
yes, the three O's. You'd be shocked, man, like how popular of a name Moves is. Originally, we were one O. It's an exercise app, right? Two O's is Moves. We just wanted to just not have any brand confusion at all. Plus, we stick out on Google. It works. Yeah. So just a bit about myself. I will say I went to Delaware State University for undergrad. I graduated in 2015. Spent a few years working in production and marketing and things of the sort. I actually went back for my MBA in 2018. 2019, I had worked briefly at the market site at the NASDAQ. We did a lot of work with IPOs and corporate events, etc. So basically, what I figured out was that people didn't necessarily need help going to events. They wanted to have better communication and touch points at these live events. So, created this event management company named Moooves, aptly to help people find stuff to do in their area. What we figured out was, although people wanted that, businesses did not. So, we pivoted, scaled, tested a bunch of stuff for the last 4 years. And recently, we've actually created our augmented reality messaging product, which has actually found rave reviews from a lot of people in our local community. I pivoted to augmented reality messaging and social media full time. And yeah, ever since then, just trying to build it, reallocate, restructure, and push it out into the world.
Awesome. So tell me, during your transition, walk us through what that evolution has taught you about adaptability and vision as a founder.
Sure. So you're saying walk, so that way I'm understanding your question. You said walk you through the evolution, but then also talk about and then I didn't hear the last part.
Just, your vision as a founder, how you adapt through that change, right?
Sure. So, as most founders, right, especially in the startup world, it's our number one job to keep vision and to keep our insight intact, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the world I'll use tech for an example, or I'll use Web3 for an example. For those who don't know what Web3 is, it's like the world of crypto and NFTs and blockchain and digital assets. Things are constantly evolving, right? Even regulation, what could be just a theory or a law or an idea today is basically setting the standard for tomorrow. And so, with so much changing rapidly, two things. Number one, what could have been not the right time, or you're ahead of the game yesterday or even this morning, you might be behind tomorrow. You have to move fast. And number
Yeah.
two, it is possible to be too early. So, in the case of like when we started the company, because I'm in crypto, I've always had like the we'll say the gumption, or I've always had the mindset knowing this was going to be augmented reality, or this was going to be like something dealing with gamification or with the future. What I figured
Right.
out was we were trying to find our product market fit, or we were trying to do consumer testing or things of the sort. Most of what we were doing pitching had to come with education, or it had to come with a service-based product or something, because we were just too ahead of our time, right? And you'll see products like this with the Google Glass. The Google Glass is not that much different than the products they're releasing today. They were just 7 or 8 years too early, and sometimes you can be too early, and that's it causes
It's
lack of
okay.
growth as well.
Mm, right. So what did that taught you?
Well, number one, I have a really good friend. He's like a mentor of mine, and he always says, always be closing. That is the
Yeah.
ABCs. If you're not closing, if you're not making sales, if you're not making calls, if you're not doing something, you don't have a business. You have like a really good idea, or like at worst, like a really expensive side hustle. Like if you're doing business, you have to have customers. You have to be like constantly pitching and closing and refining and growing. I would like to think starting a business is probably the best thing that you can do if you want a barometer of like where you are in life, because it will really like bring and test all parts of you. So like for an example, like I'm really good about working independently. I'm really good about like communicating with others. I
Mm-hmm.
figured out the very first time I had to manage people, like just because I can work a certain kind of way doesn't mean everyone else works the exact same way. And that
Yeah.
was quite a learning experience with my first crop of interns, maybe about like last year or the year before. It's all kinds of stuff though. Like you learn like priority, time management, right? Like a lot of the little things where like you think you have time because you can like work for yourself, but you
Hmm.
actually never work for yourself. You really work for like everyone else, all of your suppliers, all of your distributors, your marketers. If you have any investors, if you have like any employees at all, like all of their lives and livelihoods are all dependent upon you and your
Honestly,
success.
if you have a business, you're working for
Yeah,
your clients. It's a different kind of working. They're not the boss, but they kind of control, you know.
yeah, like they're
Yeah,
decision makers. Or like if I don't like theoretically this morning, I could because I don't have a boss. I could have slept in today, but like everything that I had to do for this morning, if I didn't wake up at 5 this morning, I wouldn't have got it all done. like
it's
and
true.
like this is every single day, right? Eventually it'll switch and then I'll be hopefully one of those people that are like Elon or Bezos that are making billions of dollars to just sit at home and go on vacation or play golf or something. But like for now, for that 7 to 10 years beforehand, no, it's every day consistently, holidays, weekends, birthdays, whatever.
All
And
of
if you
it.
understand, you do. And if you don't, then you're
No,
considered crazy.
if you understand, then you're a business owner. If you don't understand, you have not been there before.
Yes.
Because honestly, as a business owner, everything you said is spot on.
Yeah.
Like, I own my business, right?
Hmm.
And I sometimes have this thing with my kids, right? Like they
Right.
see me like, and I run my business and I work from home, right? Because we're all
Mhm.
remote. So for them, it's like, I think it's almost like because it's from home, it's not as important, right? So mom has all the flexibility in the world, right? So sometimes they kind of like, so like for instance, this morning, funny enough,
Right.
my son needed to go to soccer practice, right?
Hmm.
And I was ready to go, at like say seven, I think it was 7:10. Practice was
Right.
7:30, and he was like, "We don't have to leave yet." I'm like, "You don't, but I do because I have to come back and get ready for work and do my thing." And it's like, I'm like, I work, right?
Yeah.
But they don't, a lot of people don't see that. Not because you own your business and you work from home, the priorities are not as high, if not higher. Right.
Right.
All
No,
right.
it really is.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. I was just like, no, it really is. Like I think about how many times I've been like at home or like somewhere else, and it's like, okay, if I need to step out of my office, I'll just go to the gym in the middle of the day, knowing, right, when somebody sees me in sweatpants at 2 in the afternoon, they're like, oh, this dude's a total slacker. He's not working. And it's like, dude, little do you know, this is the only break I'm going to get today. And I'm comfortable because after this, I'm going to the office for 12 hours. I won't leave till 2 in the morning. So yeah, I could wear sweatpants. That's
Yeah, exactly. All right. So you pivot from event management
yes.
to launching, well, kind of getting your startup going.
Hmm.
And that's fascinating. Talk a little bit about your startup because I think it's really cool. And then
Hmm.
how did you know it was the right time to pivot from working as an employee to
Hmm.
starting your own thing and now being a startup, CEO, founder?
Sure. So I guess I'll go from like the end of your question and then work backwards.
Yeah.
All right. So on, I'm gonna backtrack. So 2019 is when I had the internship for the NASDAQ.
Right.
During that time, I told you I moved around the city. I was doing a lot of stuff in New York, going to events. Honestly, was trying to get a full time job because I'm first generation American, first generation college, like, trying to get a job to help pay for moms, right? July 4th of 2019, I had some friends from out of town come visit, and we spent all day just looking for fireworks and looking for an after party because the rapper J. Cole did this surprise concert in the city. When I tell you that each of us spent $100 just on cover charges, food, No, I wouldn't even say food. It was just cover charges, drinks, and like Ubers to try to figure out what to do. I was like, everyone that I know has had this problem at least one time where they've wasted
Hmm.
like a haircut, an outfit, a fresh face of makeup, whatever, gone to this event and it not has gone as planned. There has to be a better way. That was July 4th, 2019. And from there until April 2nd, 2021, I did nothing with moves. I thought about it, had an idea in the back of my mind. I chalked it because I just really wanted my MBA and to get a full time job, right? My mom, she's from Korea. That's like what we were literally raised to do: get a job, give back to the parents, send money overseas, etc. And so I ended up at that time in 2021, I was actually working at Chase as a syndication loans broker. Chase is an
Interesting.
awesome company, but like syndication is such a boring career compared to what I do now. Like, and so I was still there, honestly, the pandemic happened. We all got fired because we were contractors. And it wasn't that they fired us, it was how they did it that I'll never, ever, ever in my life forget. We were scheduled from 8 to 5. It was at 4:46 p.m., 14 minutes before we got out for the day, to call and say, Mr. Smith, your services are no longer needed with our company.
Wow.
Not a thank you, not a hey, we understand what you're going through, not because at the time I found out my mom she had breast cancer. So like my brothers and I,
Sorry
we,
to
we
hear
took
that.
care of her.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that later, but like it was a lot. And I remember
of course.
thinking to myself, every mentor I've ever had growing up said, if you give somebody the power to feed you, you give somebody the power to starve you.
Absolutely. Yep.
As soon as I got off the phone, I
Hmm.
was visibly, I was upset because like I
Absolutely.
just lost my job. I didn't know how I was going to like honestly take care of my mom. Like there was a lot of things going on in my personal life at that time. I knew
Right.
one thing: there was nobody in my life or any life that was ever going to be able to tell me that as a person, like I'm not going to be able to provide for my family and my loved ones. Now, granted, about 2 years into starting the business, my mom actually ended up passing away on Memorial Day, 2023. But like,
Right. I'm sorry to hear that.
stand by that though.
Yeah.
Myself, everybody else in the company, like we all have like that sense of fire in us. That's like, to your point, we don't do this for us. We do this for everybody else that's a part of our team. We do this for everybody else that like this business will impact. Yeah.
Wow. That was a story. It's one of those things that, you know what, I had a slightly different experience, but kind of
Right.
similar in the sense of, one day I got that kind of, it wasn't the same kind of phone call, but the repercussions were the same, right?
Right.
It was basically, I was about to lose my job in a company that I loved working for. I was the CEO, the founder, the owner, majority
Wow.
owner, decided to merge with another company that I had strongly advised against.
Hmm.
And so when he made his final decision, I knew, the writing was on the wall. I was out, right? And so, I experienced like that day, I'm like, I will, if there's only two options: do I find another job, right? Or I start something. And that day I said, if I start something else,
Hmm.
nobody will ever have that power over me again, right? Like if I'm going to work this hard to build something, then it's going to be mine, right? And nobody will have the power to say you're no longer part of it, because I had
Right.
worked so hard for that company to build it up to where it was, and then to just be like one day goodbye, see you later,
Crazy.
was really really hard. And I always try to explain, it's like it's a heartbreak of sorts, especially if you're doing something you really love,
Oh, it's
right?
definitely a heartbreak.
It's a heartbreak. It's not like the heartbreak a person that you really love can give you, but
I
it's
think
still a heartbreak. You're being stripped of something that you
right.
felt strongly about, right?
I think it's kind of like worse than getting dumped though, because
Kinda.
like I've dated people and it had like not worked out, but like I knew it wasn't gonna work out beforehand because I'm like, all right, well, the way that I live or the kind of thing she's looking for, I'm not really that person, like,
Right.
or like. hey, I work too much, and she seems like the kind of person that's always wants me around. But you kind of find out those things pretty early on, or even you've put so much time and you kind of have had enough conversations to where by the time the breaking point happens, you're like, okay, we're both done at this point.
Yeah.
But when you get fired, it is so much worse because you're like, first of all, like I've lost relationships and then gone out to work the next day or gotten paid or gotten a promotion or
Yeah,
something
and you
or
keep on
a
going, right?
training.
Like,
And I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm sad, but I could just like go to the bar or like, go on Meetup or go on Tinder, or like, like go
exactly.
on at a job. I feel like it's like you're like getting broken up with in the worst way possible because they're like, no, we want somebody else that does exactly what you do. We just think that they're going to do it better than you because you're not good. Again, we're betting on
Well,
the fact that
actually, to your point, I'm going to say
yeah.
this. It is even worse because this is exactly how it happened to me.
Oh,
When they tell you that they know that you'll do a better job, but they can't keep you because the other company doesn't want to work with you.
I gave you the it's
They
not
don't
you,
want you
it's
there. So then they proceed to say, why don't we wait, 6 months and you can come back and fix it? And I'm like, absolutely
oh
no
no, no, no.
chance.
I
No
would have told
chance.
you to kick rocks. That is
Well,
that's like
that's what I did. But you know what I mean? Like, you are the better person for the job, but we're
right,
still not gonna keep you because that's what he said to me.
right.
Listen, I get it is business, but that's how, that's like saying, I don't know, so many ways of,
That's like
but that's force.
like saying like I don't want to date you. I know you're a really great guy. I don't want to date you. I actually instead want to just go do my own thing. And then months later, if I don't find anybody that's better, then we can go out again. And no,
Exactly. That is exactly the message. But that was what I got. That's what was delivered to me.
right,
I know you're the better candidate for the job, but that's not how it's going to work. So
right.
so yeah, that if I tell you the options in between, you laugh, but that was my story. But it is a heartbreak. It's a different kind of heartbreak, but it is a very hard thing to get over. But you know what? It's like, when you lose something, you mourn it for a few days, and then you go like, okay, I'm gonna give you up until this day to grieve this stage,
Hmm.
my life. And then that's where I cut it, and then from there on it's like everything, brand new, we move forward. And so
Yeah.
for me, moving forward was I started Digital Architects, and that was 2.5 years ago now when I started Digital Architects, which, about 2 months after I went through that. And then, hey, listen, it's not perfect, but this is mine, right?
Right.
What happens with it is, 100% my responsibility. Nobody can, kick me out. I can kick myself out, but nobody else can. Okay, I wanted to go. There was something you said earlier about, people sometimes being early to market, or that conversation. And I know one of the things that's really hard, especially on some of the things you're doing, because it is still technology that people haven't fully wrapped their head around,
Right.
the metaverse and that stuff. So how are you kind of crafting your messaging around that, around the fact that there is still a challenge with technology, so that people understand? Because like you said, if you're too early, they might not know yet that they want it, right? But you kind of have to point them in that direction, right? How are
Yeah.
you reframing your messaging? Like, what are you doing about it?
So this was actually our very biggest challenge. And so first, I would say that it first was an issue, or I'll use the word challenge. There was a challenge with us trying to communicate it, right? Like what we are. I know now I could say like, hey, it's an augmented reality messaging system, or honestly, I don't even have to go that far. I could just literally say, hey, listen, we allowed you to make content and post it in your real world, and other people nearby in your area can see it. And it's tied to your location, so you can turn physical places into virtual spaces or whatever, right? All the marketing jargon just comes out now. That took me
Right.
4 years of practicing every single day, or like to having a bunch of different pitches events or networking, elevator pitches, and all these kind of things where either people didn't understand what I was saying because they weren't technically savvy, or I was using so many buzzwords that they didn't understand it. But also, timing the market is important too. Because, like in 2021, when we first started, yes, there was a bull run going on in crypto and in stocks, but also that was the same year that Sam Bankman Fraud like did all that stuff with like FTX and honestly made my job a lot harder because then when everyone heard crypto, they were like, "Oh, it's a scam. We're going to stay away from this guy." So there are things like that. I will say that like being a thought leader or a person of influence really helps. Having awesome conversations like this to where like somebody may not come to myself or Moves for, hey, we have this awesome social media that's going to futurize gamification, but they may just say, hey, I followed this guy online because he seems like he's know what he's talking about in something that I don't know, and he looks like me, right? Or being able to like change our, so a lot of what we did actually, if you go on our website, we added an enterprise tab
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of what would happen is I would try to pitch people, I would get the meetings, and they would say, hey, look, we don't care about the app, we don't care about your gamification, your fake crypto tokens. All we want to know is, hey, I'm losing out to my competitor and I need an AI chatbot built. Or hey, these token services that you're doing, can I implement something like that in my company? Right? And those
Mm-hmm.
service-based business being able to now open a division that says, okay, hey, if you're here for the app and our platform, use Moves. But if you want us to future-proof your business, okay, go
Mm-hmm.
through our services, do these kind of things. And actually, that's actually worked out great because a lot of our clients and customers come to us for our services and then end up saying, oh my gosh, this is awesome. You're doing all these things within your own ecosystem. Hey, I am interested in your app. So kind of one hand washes the other kind of thing, but really just using the power of broke and some variation of just, hey, we don't lack resources, we lack resourcefulness here.
Very good. So in your app, I mean, I know you're expanding it, right? And one of those, which you kind of touched on it a little bit, you hinted at, you know, evolving it. And with AI and gamification, can you share how you envision AI and gamification enhancing your user engagement or scaling it?
Yes.
How do you see AI playing into all of this? Because that's the big talk now.
Sure. So for us, AI handles a lot of our internal systems. I started this company as a solo non technical founder. Moreover, and like, let me backtrack. It's 2025, and I want to say
Mm.
this for everyone listening out there or watching or however they're viewing this content. If you have never started a business or some kind of something that you are doing in 2025, you are losing. And I
Yeah.
want to drive that point home because, like, yes, everyone knows about Chat GPT, but when I tell you that, like, there are so many just operations, business development, tech, marketing, all of these things that you can do now with AI instantly, that it is ridiculous. I started this conversation with I started this business rather with zero technical skills. I don't come from a technical background. I didn't know anything about coding outside of posting MySpace layouts.
Okay.
I was a solo founder, right? Which they tell you you're
Mhm.
supposed to have a team. I had zero money saved because I just got fired from my job. Actually, I started Moves. Like I told you, I got fired from Chase 4/2/21.
Mhm.
I literally started Moves 4/3/21, like the
Okay.
next day. So like literally the day I got fired, I was like, all right, you know what? Screw these people. They fired me 15 minutes afterwards. I'm gonna take the rest of the night. I walked around my neighborhood, walked my dogs, came inside, packed up my Switch, and was like, I'm about to sell this and start a business. Like, and literally that's how that happened. Like, but
So
yeah,
you
no. So
sold
like,
your gaming console to get the money to get you started. Did I get that right?
yeah. So it was a combination actually. It was that. I
Mm-hmm.
went to a plasma donation center, and I guess like for if you're in the inner city or whatever, like they'll give you like $100 or something, which I don't recommend because it doesn't really. I'm kind of against needles, but like I need $100. Like
Yeah. You needed
yeah, literally,
money.
No, literally, like, so I took the because like I live in Delaware, so like a lot of the corporations and stuff are from here. So I took the $100 that I made from that. I literally met up with my dad and my grandmother, God rest her soul, like, and like they literally walked me through the process of like getting the EIN, going through one stop, like processing all the paperwork and everything like that. Like that's the money that I took for that, like to actually build my actual paperwork itself for the business.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as far as like selling my Switch, I think I used that for I was buying groceries for my mom at the time I was telling you. So like I literally like took half of the money from that, bought groceries, and then took the other half and put it in my gas tank. So that way, I could get to and from whatever I was doing. And then for like 15 hours every day after that for the next 6 months, like while the pandemic and everything was happening, all I did was sit on the computer all day and learn how to code, learn about AI softwares, learn about prototyping, marketing, like business operations. Like literally, like I said, okay, you need 10,000 hours to figure this out at least. Time's ticking,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's literally how it went. Like,
So you
but
bootstrap
anyway,
it with
right.
plasma and selling a switch,
Which is
and then
crazy.
which it is that is crazy. Oh, but that just goes to tell you you don't need a lot when you have the drive.
Yes.
You learn, then you register the business, you learn how to code, and you've
Yeah.
been doing it mostly as a solopreneur, or do you have a team now?
Yeah, so now we have a team. Yeah, so now we have a team. Oh, going back to the AI thing, I meant to say. So AI runs a lot of our software. So, like for an example, like our lead generation, we had an intern, and like to be fair, like
Marcos, hold that thought, because I'm going to detour. Just hold that thought, because I'm actually going to go somewhere else with that,
okay,
what you're about to say.
about
So you did all of that. You learned how to code. Now you have a team. How big is your team?
so our team, including myself, we're 6 people.
Okay.
For the most part, everyone is domestic. One of our people are actually overseas right now. I think he's in Italy. Last time we talked.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
So the
Kind of
business has
honestly,
grown.
yes. The business has grown. Most of people on our team they are interns, although we're trying to convert a few of our really good ones over to full time offers.
Okay.
They're great. They work really hard. A lot of times they want to work more than I would like to give them work because I still want to like have them to have a real life, you know?
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. All right. So where are we going to go with the AI? Because I love this topic, and I think it
Yes.
always comes so handy. So we're going to talk about AI, but I'm gonna,
Right.
like I said, I'm gonna take a detour here a little bit. And you're talking about how you've built your business on AI and tools. So we're gonna do the
Right.
rundown. Walk us through the AI. So you said you're using it for lead generation. You're doing a bunch of stuff. So tell us, and this is kind of like the format of how I want you to talk about it. Tell us, you know, if you can, obviously, what tools are you using and how you using them. So let's start with lead generation. What kind of tools are you using? What are you doing with it? Because I think people love to hear how
Sure.
somebody like you have has built all of that, right?
Sure. So the name of the game is integrations. So I will say, just as far as lead generation, if you go on our website, moves.io, literally as soon as you go to our website, you'll probably see some AI created version of me. That is a
Mm-hmm.
chat. Okay. Now, this chatbot does everything from taking people's data, collecting their leads, their information, and just auto adding them to the wait list, right? Which
Right.
is kind of nice because, of course, that helps our traction, that helps our numbers. So, in addition to that, for people that want to actually book appointments through our enterprise services, it does that as well. We at one point in time had it like generate text and things of the sort, although we tried to stay away from that now because people honestly really don't like push notifications. But that's just I think that platform we use Jotform AI, but there are other chat bot softwares. That's just the one that I personally use because I like the customization options.
Right.
I will say Zapier. I don't know where they are in the world, but like shout out to Zapier, man. Like it's like this software that basically like it ties to all your CRMs and a bunch of different cross-platform work.
We
And
use that
like,
too.
yeah, okay, so like you have to like
Yeah.
literally like once you have all your database, you literally can just type in whatever or say, hey, when this happens, this happens. and it saves so much time. Like just not having to give the grunt work or the admin busy repetitive tasks to
Mm-hmm.
our interns or to our staff is awesome. Recently, Canva.
Mm-hmm.
I've used, so like I'm from a design background, so like I was using Canva just statically or independently. Canva's like ability for you to use like prompt to code software. I know you can do it on Chat GPT,
Mm-hmm.
but the way that their user interface works on Canva AI specifically is the best thing I've ever used in my life. To the
So
point
you're
where
using Canva to create the prompt? No.
so like everything, so let me backtrack. So like just starting off, we do all of our lead generation admin stuff using AI, right? I think one of our interns like they manage the AI to make sure like stuff works, but effectively they're
Right.
just prompting all day. Right? Like
Right.
okay, that side of it, right? But then the actual like customization of the app. Remember, I'm not like a coder by trade. So they have like vibe coding, if you count that as coding for all the developers
A
out
little
there,
bit, yeah. Don't
where
insult
you
them,
can
but yeah, it is coding.
where you literally can take like, so in the case we took our website and we took like just some stuff that we were building. All I wanted to do was, about a month or so ago, our team, we were competed at a hackathon at University of Delaware where we debuted our cybertext. So we had
Okay.
like those promotional video clips. We took that, put it into Canva AI and said, hey, build me an app that does this effectively, like be able to drop pins and et cetera, right? It prompt the ability of the actual cyber pin itself, and then just take that prompt, take the coding from that prompt, and then keep going, re-engineering it, putting in rinse and
And
repeat.
you're doing
We're
that
ha-
in Canva.
we're doing it in Canva. You can do it in ChatGPT too,
Mm-hmm.
but like the problem with ChatGPT when you're using it for coding specifically is that it's not, the internal database that it uses isn't designed.
The,
So like it'll work, but it won't look good doing it. As
okay.
opposed to Canva, a lot of their data, a lot of their creativity and things like that, it's already in house. So like they're not as technically sound, but you can work around it if you have a good enough prototype. Because remember, like by the time you get to the prototyping stage, all you're trying to do is being able to show investors and other people, hey, this is the demo, right? All you're trying to do is build traction. So like right now we're at
Okay.
a stage, yeah, we're just building traction.
Very well.
There are other softwares too, like I mean, of course, our social media. I
What do you use
generated
for
art.
social media?
Social media, it's a lot of like Chat GPT, Hootsuite for scheduled posts. We just recently started doing that because
Mm-hmm.
learn that the algorithm pushes you out only if you're consistent. So,
Right.
Canva, make the post real quick, auto schedule it on Hootsuite. Literally, I send it out without even thinking about it. The only
Are you?
drawback to that,
Go ahead.
getting text, hey, you can post on social media, but you can't text me back. Like, I didn't post it. Like, they posted it.
You can. Yeah, exactly. I've had that too.
Yeah.
Said, but I thought you were online. I'm like, no, I wasn't. Somebody
That
else
was not.
was, but I wasn't. We do the same thing actually. The only difference is I have, so, we're a digital marketing agency, so we do this obviously for our clients or ourselves. So we do it slightly different actually, but kind of same idea. So we
Mm-hmm.
have our own software, which is AI Architects, which is a
Mm-hmm.
marketing platform that has automations built in. And so we have, and it has sort of like the what do you call it? The one you use for the
Hootsuite.
Hootsuite. But in ours, it's just like part of the software, so we can integrate our Meta, so Facebook, Instagram. We have YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. So we have like 7 different platforms, and once it's all integrated, we can go in and we can literally just schedule the post, and we can create one post and modify it for each platform. But once we click that like send or
Mm-hmm.
scheduled, right? It will put it in the queue for whatever day we pick, and then it just, so one person will create a bunch of these. I will go in and approve them, make sure that it's all good, and then we
Right.
have posts for a full week or 2 weeks in advance, right? So the posts go out, and we don't have much to. And then we have another one that we use, and this one is mostly for me. It's
Yeah.
my LinkedIn private account actually.
Okay.
And this one, it's actually really cool because it pulls like the most recent. So you give it basically your persona of what you're looking for I'll explain in a minute. So, say my topics are AI, marketing, SEO. So, it will pull like all the topics, relevant topics on those subjects. And then
Hmm.
I can basically pick the ones that I like the most, and then it create my post based on those. And then it will
Hmm.
get all scheduled. So, my personal feed is also fully automated, and we only have to do it like once every couple of, I think we do it maybe once a week or twice a month, and then schedule a bunch of them. And
Right.
then it has things that are relevant to my market and my
Right.
business, without me
Right.
having to go in and read all the news. And it just kind of like say, aggregates all of it into one place, and then off they go. So all useful.
Yeah.
What else are you doing? So you lead gen, social media. What else is
Yes.
big in your business?
Man, so a lot of the token creation, AI automation. Now, most of the AI automation, I mean, at this point, like we use automation for some of it, but I will say that has more to do with like the repeatable tasks because most
Yeah.
of the people who come to us for like our services enterprise, they're looking for either custom solutions or like for example, one of our services is strategy, right? So that's more of
Mhm.
like that one-to-one coaching or like business consulting type with small teams and that kind of thing. With that, we kind of more so try to have it conversational and like people like myself or like our director of sales, like he'll go out and like we'll actually have those conversations just because like it's funny. The more AI and stuff happens, the more people value like real time, real life interactions. I'll say that like for a lot of like our honestly, most of it comes from like marketing and creative type graphics, just because like we use it more as a time saver. In the future, we'll do more like emails and actual outreach.
Mhm.
But outside of just introductory high level tasks, me personally, it, I don't trust it enough yet. But I will, just not yet.
Eventually.
Yeah,
Hey, remember, it's only getting smarter, right? So
yeah. It's the
actually,
worst it'll ever.
yeah, exactly. Actually, I don't know if you saw today, if you saw the news today, but OpenAI just made a big announcement, and they're basically saying they eventually want to be your operating system. Well, aside from the AMD big news with the chips, but that's another whole different
Yeah,
topic.
the sad part about it is that it's probably going to happen sooner than we think.
I agree
It
with you
really,
100%. Here, the
yeah.
headline. Let's see if I can find it. It was crazy.
Hmm.
Because I read it. I'm like, did I read this right? I
I don't
can't.
think no one person or company or entity should have all that power.
No, but hey, it's there. He put it. He put it out. He put it out there today. So we'll see how
Mhm.
that works out. You know. All right. I mean, we've already had a long conversation.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you want to tell our audience today about running businesses, AI, technology, all of that?
I do actually. All right.
Go for
So I'm
it.
going to say this to Carolina and hopefully it goes viral sooner. But if not, hopefully this is one of those videos that like 3 or 4 years from now, when they make some insane crypto policy, it's going to be like, yo, that dude Marcus and Carolina from Digital Architects, like they called it. Here it is. A lot of people think that like AI is a humongous wave. Don't get me wrong. But I think
Mm-hmm.
a couple things. Number one, 90% of AI companies are about to be gone in like the next 5 years.
All right.
That's a fact. I know they're scaling faster than ever, but most of them will be gone. Because the thing is that, hey, right now we do automation because we can simplify everybody's B2B processes or their top end of their sales funnel, et cetera. Everyone is doing this so much so fast that the price and the barrier of entry is only getting lower and lower and lower and lower and lower.
Yes.
And so eventually you get to a point where now everybody, it's almost like having a website now. Nobody's a website builder in 2025, right? Because they have platforms and AI systems that you could just do it in 6 seconds. Such is going to be the way of AI automation very, 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 very soon. And I think that everyone who does not already, like if your position in your company can be automated, you're at risk in the next 5 years. I'm a firm believer in that. And I think that the way that we talk about house phones is going to be the way that we talk about jobs one day, very, very, very soon. I think universal basic income is probably going to be the solution to that. But I think that people should do blockchain and tokenization data and research and learn about as much of that as you can in the next 2 years. Because as regulation starts to happen more and more and more, people are going to become less protected. And that gap is going to supersede something serious in the next 18 months. And I think that those who are prepared, they'll flourish. And those who aren't,
So tell us, how do we?
I'm biased. I think learning about crypto, getting some variation of a hard wallet, just doing the time to take the research in the same way how like back in the 90s and the early 2000s, we didn't throw everything into internet, but we understood that this thing was not going away. So we still
Mm-hmm,
had our basic whatever it was, but we probably had a computer room. I
mm-hmm.
guess whatever the version of that is for crypto, like, but no, seriously, learn it though, or like understand. Honestly, watch a 10-year-old play Roblox. If you want to know how
Okay.
the metaverse works, literally watch a kid play Roblox. Because every single thing they're doing on Roblox or on Minecraft and building their own, communicating with their own ecosystems, begging me to go to the store to take my real money and buy Robux and then using it for
Yes.
their ecosystems, like all of that is exactly how crypto, NFTs, metaverse, and all that kind of stuff works. And the faster that you understand that blockchain protects the data because it makes it unhackable and unduplicatable, the less we'll all fear AI. Because AI can make it look and sound and behave the same, but it isn't the actual same because it's not from the same blockchain address. That's
Okay.
all. That's my TED talk today.
Well, there you go. Hey, there was a little bit of a tech talk.
Yeah.
All right, Marcus, thank you so much for coming out and spending this almost an hour with me and for sharing your knowledge and your experience with our audience.
Awesome.
Thank you. I hope to see you back again, maybe in the near future. We can keep talking about AI
Absolutely.
and crypto and blockchain
Anytime.
and all that stuff.
Hey, you take
Metaverse.
care.
Hopefully by then, your product, your software, it's it's, it's reached new highs.
Will definitely be launched by then. We're actually coming out with a cryptocurrency. We're launching our own token in the next like 3 weeks. So I'll definitely say
Amazing. Sounds good. Thank you, everyone. Take care. We will see you soon.